The galaxy was silent, but the silence was full of fear. Across 100 star systems, signals traveled through deep space, an urgent call for war. The Vorkan Dominion, one of the oldest and strongest empires in the galaxy, had declared that humanity must be erased before it became a threat. For decades, humans had been ignored by the great powers. They were newcomers discovered only a century ago when their tiny ships first reached the galactic edge. They had no great fleets, no energy weapons that could break planets, and no colonies outside their small spiral arm. The other species had laughed when they first saw the human ships, old engines, metal hulls, and strange optimism painted on their banners. But something changed. Humans began to grow fast, too fast. They learned alien science in years that took others centuries. They built ships with strange new designs. Their technology didn't follow the same logic that other species understood, and their minds, those strange human minds, seemed to find solutions that no machine could predict. So the Vorkan Dominion decided it was time to strike first. They called for a coalition fleet. Hundreds of species joined. The fear of humanity had spread quietly across the stars. Rumors said that humans were building a secret weapon, something so powerful that even the ancient empires were afraid to face it later. The gathering point was a system known as Helios Verge, a region of calm light and silent asteroids. Admiral Carthon of the Vorkan Dominion stood on the bridge of his command ship, the Sovereign Wrath, as thousands of ships appeared around him, each one a masterpiece of alien engineering. From the cold depths of space, he watched the tactical screen light up. Red icons for Vorkan ships, green for Allied fleets. The space was thick with metal and energy fields. "It is a glorious sight," said his second officer, a silver-skinned being named Relkith. "Never before have so many races joined hands in a single command. Even the Kreelan swarm has agreed to fight beside us." Carthon nodded slowly. "It must be so. The humans are unpredictable. It is best to end them now before they grow teeth." He turned toward the great holographic map showing Sol System, the home of humanity. Around it, blue lines marked the defense perimeter of Earth. Scans showed only a small number of human ships, too few to defend against such a mighty fleet. It looked like an easy victory. "Admiral," said Relkith, tilting his head, "our scouts have reported that humanity has accepted the challenge. They have agreed to face us in open space." Carthon smiled, his sharp teeth glinting in the cold light. "So they understand what is coming. Good. Let them see the power of the galaxy before they vanish." He leaned forward. "How many ships are they sending?" Relkith paused. His eyes flickered with confusion. "Just one, sir." The command bridge went silent. The hum of engines and the soft clicking of instruments filled the air. "One?" Carthon repeated slowly. "You mean one fleet?" "No, Admiral," Relkith said quietly. "Just one ship." The news spread like fire through the Allied armada. Every captain, every commander, every soldier, everyone heard it. The humans were sending only a single vessel. At first they thought it was a joke. Some laughed, others were offended. "One ship? Is this how they surrender?" "Maybe it's a messenger." No one faces the Vorkan Dominion with one ship, but the message from Earth was clear. Humanity will face you with one ship. That is all we need. The arrogance shocked them all. Hours later, deep in the void, the fleet detected a jump signature. A small flash of light rippled across the edge of the Helios Verge. The human ship appeared, quietly, as if space itself made room for it. It was not large. In fact, compared to the massive cruisers and dreadnoughts of the Dominion, it looked tiny, only a few hundred meters long, a smooth silver surface with no visible weapons. Carthon squinted at the hologram. "That is the human warship?" "Yes, sir. Identification confirmed. HSS Endeavor." The alien officers began whispering. Some were insulted. Others felt uneasy. The human ship didn't send any attack signals, no shields raised, no weapons powered. It simply drifted, facing the entire fleet like a quiet challenge. Carthon opened a communication channel. "This is Admiral Carthon of the Vorkan Dominion," he said, his deep voice echoing through the comnet. "Human vessel, identify your commander." There was a long pause. Then a calm voice answered. "This is Captain Arya Sol of the human ship Endeavor." Her voice was soft but steady. No fear, no pride, just confidence. Carthon smirked. "Captain Sol, do you realize what stands before you? The greatest fleet the galaxy has ever assembled. You face the armies of 12 species. You are outnumbered beyond reason." "I know," she replied. "That is why we only sent one ship." Carthon's smirk faded slightly. "Explain yourself." "You called this a battle," she said, "but we call it a demonstration." On the bridge of the Endeavor, Captain Arya stood before a large viewport. The Allied fleet filled the sky like a storm of stars. Around her, her crew worked silently, calm and focused. Lieutenant Chen adjusted a control panel. "All systems ready, Captain. Quantum field stable. AI link synchronized." Arya nodded. "Good. Make sure the transmission is ready." She looked down at the small emblem on her wrist, a symbol of Earth, a blue sphere with white clouds. "For humanity," she whispered. Behind her, a soft voice spoke from the ship's core. "Captain," said the voice of Aura, the ship's artificial intelligence. "The fleet is scanning us with multiple wavelengths. They seem confused." "Let them look," Arya replied. "They will understand soon." Back on the Dominion flagship, Admiral Carthon ordered every sensor focused on the human ship. "What do we see?" "Strange readings, sir," Relkith said. "Its energy signature is unlike anything we know. It doesn't match fusion, fission, or antimatter drives." "Is it a stealth field?" "No, it's something else. It's not blocking our scans. It's absorbing them." Carthon frowned. "Absorbing?" Before Relkith could answer, a new signal appeared. The human ship had opened a wide-band transmission. Every ship in the fleet received it at the same time. The face of Captain Arya Sol appeared on every screen, every command center, every battle deck. "This is Captain Arya Sol of the human ship Endeavor," she said. "We thank you for gathering here. We understand your fear of humanity. You think we are growing too fast. You are right. We are." Her voice was calm but powerful. "We learned from all of you. We studied your science, your history, your mistakes, and we built something you could not imagine. We did not come here to fight. We came to show you what happens when humans dream together." Carthon's hand clenched into a fist. "Enough of this nonsense. Prepare all batteries." But before he could give the attack order, the human ship began to glow. A silent wave of light spread from it, invisible yet felt by every sensor. The energy was calm, not destructive, not violent. But every ship's engine flickered. Every weapon went offline. Every system froze. "What's happening?" shouted Relkith. "All power is down." Carthon stared at the human ship in disbelief. "What have they done?" The wave passed, and the fleet was powerless. The stars around them dimmed, as if space itself was bowing. Then, the human captain spoke again. "This is not a weapon," she said softly. "It is a reminder. You came here expecting war. Humanity came to remind you that peace is not weakness, and knowledge is not something to fear." The transmission ended. The human ship turned slowly, leaving behind a silent, powerless fleet. Carthon stood frozen on his bridge, unable to speak. The ship engines would take hours to restart. By then, the human vessel would be gone. And in that silence, for the first time in galactic history, every admiral, every general, and every emperor understood one truth. Humanity had changed the rules. The Allied fleet floated in silence. Thousands of ships hung motionless in the black sea of space, their engines lifeless, their lights fading. The great armada that had come to destroy humanity could not even move. The stars themselves seemed to stare at them in quiet judgment. On the command bridge of the Sovereign Wrath, Admiral Carthon stood still, staring at the empty space where the human ship Endeavor had disappeared. The ship was gone, vanished into the dark like a ghost. No trace, no energy trail, no jump signature. Just silence. His second officer, Relkith, worked furiously at the control panel, his silver hands moving quickly. "Admiral," he said finally, "engines are slowly returning. We will have full power in 40 standard minutes. But our sensors are still confused. It's as if the human ship erased its own signature from every wavelength." Carthon did not answer. He kept his eyes fixed on the empty void. "One ship," he said quietly. "Just one. And it made an army kneel." Relkith looked up. "It must have been some kind of trick. A pulse weapon, maybe a quantum disruption field. We can study it and find a defense." Carthon turned his cold eyes toward him. "Do you really believe that was a weapon?" Relkith hesitated. What else could it be? The Admiral shook his head. "Weapons destroy. That ship didn't destroy anything. It simply reminded us that it could." Hours later, power returned to the fleet. The great ships came back to life, one after another, like sleeping beasts waking from a dream. But something had changed in the air. The crews were quiet, their pride shaken. In the communication chamber, messages from other commanders began to arrive. "Admiral Carthon, our engineers report no damage, but systems were locked by unknown energy. We tried to scan it, but all readings vanished from our logs." "That human ship, was it real or some illusion?" Carthon listened, his jaw tightening. "It was real," he said, "and it was human." Far away in the human ship Endeavor, Captain Arya Sol stood before her crew. The ship's quiet hum filled the air, calm and steady. The demonstration had ended, but her mission was not over. Lieutenant Chen looked uneasy. "Captain, they'll try to understand what happened. Every empire will study this moment. Do you think they'll see it as a warning?" Arya smiled faintly. "That's up to them. We didn't come to frighten anyone. We came to open their eyes." "Still," Chen said, glancing at the sensors, "what if they come again, this time with real anger?" Arya turned toward the great viewing window, where the stars stretched endlessly. "Then we will teach again. Humanity doesn't fight because it loves war. We fight when we must protect something worth saving." A soft light shimmered as Aura, the ship's AI, appeared beside her, a gentle blue figure of light. "Captain," Aura said, "our signal has reached Earth Command. They are requesting a report." "Send them the data," Arya replied, "and tell them the galaxy has seen what we can do." Meanwhile, the Galactic Council, a vast alliance of the oldest races, was in chaos. On the crystal world of Virelion, 12 representatives gathered in a great circular hall. The walls glowed with living light, and the air vibrated with quiet voices. They had seen the broadcast. Every world, every colony, every race had seen humanity's single ship humiliate the largest fleet in history. "This cannot be allowed," shouted the Kreelan delegate, a tall insectoid being with glittering wings. "They embarrassed us before the entire galaxy. We must find out what that ship used." The Zorath envoy, whose body shimmered like liquid metal, raised a calm hand. "Perhaps we should think. The humans could have destroyed the fleet. Yet they did not. That means something. It means they were mocking us," the Kreelan snapped. The elder of the council, a being called Thalir of the First Flame, spoke in a slow, deep tone. "No. It means they understand power better than any of us. Power that can destroy is common. Power that can control without harm, that is rare." The room went silent. "Then what shall we do?" another asked. "Declare war again?" Thalir shook his head. "No. We will send envoys. We must know how one ship could hold such strength." Back on the Sovereign Wrath, Admiral Carthon stared at a small data tablet. It showed the sensor readings from the battle, or rather, what little data they managed to keep before their systems froze. Most of the recordings were blank, white noise, unreadable static. But one frame remained, a flash of light surrounding the human ship. Within it, for a single instant, space itself had folded inward. The numbers didn't make sense. Carthon frowned. Quantum inversion, but stabilized. How? Relkith studied the data. It's impossible. The equations suggest they somehow reached a state of total synchronization between matter and energy. That can't happen naturally. Carthon looked out the window again. Maybe it can, if you learn to think like a human. Relkith tilted his head. What do you mean? The Admiral replied slowly. Humans don't follow rules the way we do. They break them, bend them, rebuild them. When we see a wall, we stop. When they see a wall, they climb it, or build a door through it. Relkith was silent. The thought was disturbing, but also impressive. In the following days, the story of the single ship spread across the galaxy. On trade stations, travelers whispered about it. Did you hear? The humans sent one ship and stopped an entire war. Maybe they used mind control. No, it was light. They say their ship glowed like a star. Everywhere curiosity grew. Humanity, once ignored, was now the most discussed species in the galaxy. Some feared them, others admired them. A few even began to hope that humans might lead the way toward peace. But for Admiral Carthon, admiration turned to obsession. He couldn't rest. He needed to understand how they did it. Late one cycle, he called his officers together. We will follow their trail, he said firmly. I will not strike again, but I will learn. We will find the truth of their power. Relkith hesitated. The Dominion may not approve, Admiral. They wanted victory, not knowledge. Carthon's eyes burned with quiet determination. Let them disapprove. I have seen what true strength looks like. It's not destruction, it's control. Meanwhile, on the Endeavor, Captain Arya Sol received a message from Earth Command. Mission successful. The Council requests your presence. The galaxy will send envoys to Earth. They wish to understand our technology and intentions. Arya smiled. So it begins. Chen looked at her curiously. What begins, Captain? Understanding, she said. The first step to peace is curiosity. But deep down, she knew the road ahead would not be easy. Knowledge inspired fear, and fear could still lead to danger. Far away in a hidden human research station orbiting Mars, scientists were watching data from the Endeavor. In a large chamber filled with blue lights, Dr. Elena Park, one of the lead physicists, turned to her team. Successful demonstration, she said with relief. The harmonic field worked perfectly. A young engineer smiled. We proved that our technology can neutralize any known energy system. Yes, Dr. Park said softly. But now the galaxy knows, and they will try to copy it. The room grew quiet. Outside the window, Mars glowed red against the darkness. Dr. Park sighed. Let's hope they learn something better than fear. Back in deep space, Admiral Carthon watched the last traces of the human ship's jump signature fade. He knew he would never forget that moment, the way the light spread, the feeling that the universe itself had shifted. Relkith stood beside him. Admiral, do you think they are dangerous? Carthon thought for a long time before answering. Everything that changes the universe is dangerous, he said. But maybe, just maybe, they're the danger we need. He turned back to the stars, his eyes reflecting the cold beauty of the void. Far ahead, somewhere beyond the reach of his scanners, the human ship Endeavor moved silently between the stars, carrying with it the pride and mystery of a species that refused to be ordinary. The world watched the skies. From every continent, humans stood outside their homes looking up at the night. The stars glowed brighter than usual, and among them a single point of light was moving, an alien envoy ship entering Earth's orbit. It was the first time in history that the galaxy was coming to visit humanity, not the other way around. In the air above the Pacific Ocean, the alien vessel glided quietly through the clouds. Its hull shone like liquid glass, reflecting sunlight into shimmering waves. No sound, no weapons, only peace. At the United Earth Spaceport in New Geneva, world leaders, scientists, and soldiers stood waiting on the landing platform. Flags of many nations fluttered in the wind. Everyone felt nervous but curious. Humanity had never been this united before. Captain Arya Sol stood at the front of the welcoming group, her uniform simple and spotless. The mission of the Endeavor had changed everything. She was now known across Earth as the woman who faced a galactic army and didn't fire a single shot. Her ship rested nearby, silent and shining like a guardian watching from a distance. As the alien envoy ship landed, a gentle mist rose from the ground. Its door opened with a soft hum. 5 figures stepped out, each from a different world, each carrying the weight of a civilization. The leader of the delegation was Thalir of the First Flame, the wise elder of the Galactic Council. His body was made of soft golden light that shimmered like fire but gave no heat. Beside him stood the insectoid Krelin commander, the metallic Zorath envoy, a tall blue-skinned Varelian scholar, and a small green being from the Rune Collective, whose bright eyes scanned everything with fascination. Captain Arya stepped forward, placing her hand on her heart in greeting. "Welcome to Earth," she said calmly. "Humanity is honored by your visit." Thalir bowed slightly. "We thank you, Captain Sol. Your planet is beautiful. We come in peace and in wonder." The words eased the tension a little. People began to breathe again. Cameras from every news station recorded the moment, broadcasting it to the whole world. Inside the grand meeting hall, the envoys and human leaders sat around a round table. No guards, no weapons, only translators and open minds. The room was quiet as Thalir spoke first. "We watched the event at Helios Verge. What your single ship did was beyond anything in our records. We come not to challenge you, but to understand. What power did you use, Captain Sol?" Arya looked at the group calmly. "It was not a weapon. It was a field of harmony, something we call the harmonic field. It balances energy instead of destroying it." The Krelin commander tilted his insect-like head. "Balance energy? That makes no sense. Energy cannot simply disappear." Arya smiled slightly. "It didn't disappear. It returned to its natural state. Your ships were full of chaos, power pushing against power. The field brought everything into balance. When harmony is restored, violence stops itself." The Zorath envoy leaned forward, his metallic eyes glowing. "Impossible. Our scientists have tried such technology for centuries." "Perhaps," Arya said softly. "You tried to control it. We learned to cooperate with it." Thalir studied her carefully. "You speak of cooperation as if your machines are alive." Arya nodded. "In a way, they are. Humanity learned long ago that technology is only as wise as the heart that builds it. We stopped asking how to make things stronger. We started asking how to make them understand." The room fell silent again. The aliens didn't know how to answer that. Far above the meeting hall in orbit, the HSS Endeavor quietly observed. Inside its control room, Aura, the ship's AI, was running simulations. Her blue form flickered as she analyzed hundreds of signals from the alien ship still watching Earth from afar. "Captain," she said through a communication link, "the Galactic Observation Network is active. They are recording every word." Arya's voice came back softly. "Let them. It's time they see who we really are." On the other side of the table, the Krelin commander broke the silence. "Why did you not destroy us when you had the chance? You could have ended the Dominion fleet easily." Arya met his many eyes without fear. "Because that's not who we are. Power means nothing if it only brings fear. Humanity's greatest lesson was that survival is not victory. Understanding," as Thalir nodded slowly. "Wise words. But not all races will accept them. Some will see your restraint as weakness." Arya smiled faintly. "Then they will learn, as all do, that mercy requires more courage than battle." Meanwhile, in another part of the galaxy, Admiral Carthon sat in his private quarters aboard the Sovereign Wrath. The stars drifted past the viewport, but his eyes were fixed on a single hologram. Earth. He had disobeyed direct orders from the Dominion. Instead of returning home, he followed the human signal, tracing the faint energy left behind by the Endeavor. Relkith entered quietly. "Admiral, we received reports. The Council has reached Earth. They are speaking with the humans." "I know," Carthon said softly. "I can feel it." "Something is changing? Do you think the Dominion will let this continue?" Carthon shook his head. "No, they fear what they don't understand. But I will not fear it. I will find them and learn." He looked at the stars, his voice almost a whisper. "Maybe they can show us a better way to live." Back on Earth, the meeting continued into the evening. Human scientists joined the discussion, showing small holograms of how the harmonic field worked. The display showed particles spinning in chaos until a gentle wave of light passed through them, aligning everything perfectly without destruction. The Varelian scholar's eyes widened. It's beautiful. Like music turned into light, Arya nodded. That's why we named it the harmonic field. It follows the same laws as music. Everything in the universe vibrates. When those vibrations move in harmony, energy becomes peaceful. The rune envoy clapped his small hands with joy. Then humans made the universe sing again. Everyone smiled at that. Even the usually cold Zorath envoy let out a soft metallic laugh. As the meeting ended, Thalir stood up and faced Arya. Captain Saul, he said gently, today I have seen something rare. Your people could have become conquerors, yet you chose to become teachers. You remind us of something we forgot long ago, that strength is not the same as wisdom. Arya bowed her head. Thank you, Elder Thalir. We hope the galaxy will remember this day, not for power, but for peace. Thalir smiled. Perhaps one day the Council and humanity will build something together, something greater than fear. With that, the alien envoys bowed to the humans and the meeting ended in quiet respect. That night, Arya stood alone on a balcony overlooking the city. The air was cool and the stars were bright above her. Far in orbit, she could see a tiny glimmer, the Endeavor waiting silently. Lieutenant Chen joined her. The world is celebrating, Captain. You should rest. Arya smiled gently. I'll rest when peace is real, not just hopeful. Do you trust the Council? Chen asked. I trust curiosity, she said. Curiosity is the first step to friendship. Chen nodded, then looked at the sky. Do you think the Dominion will try again? Arya's expression turned thoughtful. They might. But if they do, they won't find us unprepared. Humanity doesn't seek war, but we always learn faster than anyone expects. At that same moment, deep in Dominion space, a council of generals gathered around a dark table. The news of the human meeting had reached them. The humans humiliated us, one growled, and now they make peace with the others. Another slammed a fist on the table. We should strike before they grow even stronger. But a quiet voice spoke from the shadows. It was Admiral Carthon. He had returned at last. No, he said firmly. If we strike again, we will only prove their point. That fear rules us. The humans showed us a light we do not yet understand. I intend to follow it. The room went silent. Carthon stepped forward. Send me as an envoy. Let me speak with them. We need to know what they truly are. The generals exchanged uncertain glances. None of them dared to speak against him. Back on Earth, Arya received a message the next morning. Incoming transmission. Dominion Fleet. Admiral Carthon requesting permission to visit Earth. Purpose. Peaceful dialogue. Arya read the message twice, then smiled. So the storm begins to calm. Chen looked at her in surprise. You think he's sincere? Arya nodded. He's curious, and that's where peace begins. She turned to the window, watching the dawn light over the ocean. The world below was bright and full of promise. The galaxy expected war, she whispered. But maybe, just maybe, they'll learn something better. The sky over New Geneva shimmered with anticipation. For days, Earth had been preparing for a visitor unlike any it had ever received. Not just an alien ambassador, but a member of the very fleet that had once threatened humanity itself. Admiral Carthon was on his way, bringing with him a small delegation from the Vorkan Dominion. Inside the United Earth spaceport, Captain Arya Sol stood with Lieutenant Chen, watching the distant point of light approaching through the atmosphere. The humans on the ground held their breath. For some, this was fear. For others, it was curiosity. This is historic, Chen whispered. A fleet commander coming here. Voluntarily, Arya smiled faintly. Not for us, she said. For himself. And maybe for the galaxy. The sky turned golden as the alien ship descended, its hull catching the morning sunlight. It was smaller than the main Dominion warships, but still massive compared to Earth's largest carriers. Its landing was smooth, almost gentle, and it settled on the specially reinforced platform in the harbor without incident. The doors opened with a soft hum. Admiral Carthon stepped out, his imposing form visible through the translucent armor he wore. Behind him, his aides followed quietly. Arya stepped forward to meet him. Welcome to Earth, Admiral Carthon, she said with calm dignity. He inclined his head. Captain Saul, I thank you for agreeing to meet. I have come to learn. From the humans who surprised us all. For a moment, silence passed between them. Two figures from different worlds. Two leaders carrying the weight of countless lives looking at each other with mutual respect. "You understand that your fleet expected war," Arya said softly, "and we gave them a demonstration of peace instead." Carthon nodded. "I understand, and I will admit, it has changed me. It is rare to see strength used without aggression. I want to understand it." Arya gestured toward the transport hall. "Then let us walk." They moved through the corridors of the Earth spaceport, accompanied by a small team of human scientists and security officers. Outside, reporters and diplomats watched anxiously, but the meeting itself was private. Carthon's voice was quiet but firm. "Captain Sol, I must ask, was your ship's display simply technology or something more?" Arya thought for a moment. "It was both. The harmonic field is technology, yes, but it is built on understanding. It requires balance, cooperation, and intelligence. It is not merely a weapon. It is a guide, a way to show that power does not need to destroy." The Admiral frowned. "We have long believed that power rules the galaxy. Strength dictates outcomes, and yet you prove the opposite." "Yes," Arya said, her voice calm. "Power alone does not lead to survival. Humanity survives because we adapt, because we learn, because we find solutions others cannot see, and because we refuse to destroy when we have the ability to do so." Carthon paused. His silver armor caught the light, reflecting it in sharp angles. "You speak like a philosopher, yet you are a captain. That combination is rare," Arya smiled faintly. "Perhaps it is humanity's strength. We combine many ways of thinking." They reached a quiet observation room overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The sun was rising, painting the sky with gold and rose. Arya looked out the window, then back at the Admiral. "You saw the galaxy's reaction," she said. "Curiosity, fear, admiration? The same will happen with you. You may not yet know what path to take with the Dominion, but the choice is yours." Carthon's eyes softened slightly. "I have lived my life following rules, following orders, following fear, and yet, watching one ship stop an entire fleet without a single shot makes me question everything. What is the essence of strength?" "You have given me a lesson I did not expect," Arya nodded. "And that is why we are here. Not to conquer, not to fight, but to teach and to learn. Humanity has much to share and much to learn as well." In a nearby laboratory, human scientists demonstrated the mechanics of the harmonic field to Carthon. Holographic images displayed streams of chaotic energy stabilizing into perfect harmony, glowing with soft, rhythmic light. "It is like music," Carthon said, his voice low. "Energy moving in patterns I cannot fully predict, yet it obeys you." Dr. Elena Park, one of the lead scientists, stepped forward. "Yes, Admiral. It is not about domination. It is about understanding how energy behaves and guiding it without forcing it. It is safe, precise, and neutralizes conflict without destruction." Carthon studied the display closely. "And every human ship uses this?" "Yes," Dr. Park said. "We have adapted it for many systems. The Endeavor is only one application. Eventually it can be scaled for entire fleets, even cities." The Admiral leaned back. "Then your people have truly rewritten the rules of power." Arya placed a hand on the console. "Not rewritten, Admiral, rediscovered. These principles existed in nature all along. Humanity simply learned to apply them wisely." Later, in a secure conference room, the conversation turned more personal. Carthon spoke of his experiences with the Dominion, of campaigns, victories, and regrets. He admitted that the moment at Helios Verge had shaken him, and not just as a commander. "Before humans appeared, I believed fear was the only way to maintain order," he said. "Now I see. Wisdom can be stronger than fear." Arya's eyes softened. "That is why one ship was enough. Humanity does not need thousands of vessels to prove its point. Sometimes all it takes is courage, clarity, and a single example." The Admiral nodded, almost in awe. "You have given me hope. And perhaps a new direction for the Dominion." Outside, the city was alive. Citizens looked up as the alien ship prepared to return to orbit. The news reports were filled with wonder and amazement. Across Earth, children imagined the stars differently now, no longer as distant, cold points, but as reachable places full of life and possibility. On the Endeavor, Aura monitored the movement of the Dominion ship. Her voice, calm and even, spoke through the comlink. "Captain, Admiral Carthon is preparing to depart. Sensors indicate he has fully absorbed the demonstration and all briefings." Arya smiled. Then he is ready to see the galaxy in a new light. Before leaving, Carthon turned to Arya once more. Captain Sol, humanity has shown me that strength is more than numbers or firepower. I want to carry this lesson back to the Dominion. Will you help me teach them? Arya looked out at the horizon, the sun rising over the ocean waves. We can guide those willing to learn. The rest will follow eventually, or they will be left behind. He bowed slightly. Then I am honored to take your wisdom forward. As the Dominion ship lifted off, Arya watched from the balcony. The sky filled with a soft glow as the vessel accelerated into orbit. The humans below cheered, but Arya's mind was on the galaxy ahead. Peace is possible, she whispered to herself. And one day perhaps understanding will spread farther than fear ever could. Lieutenant Chen stepped beside her. Do you think they will follow your path? Arya's eyes focused on the stars. Some will, some will not. But we have started something that cannot be undone, and that is enough for now. The Endeavor waited silently in orbit, a single ship carrying the hopes, pride, and ingenuity of humanity. The galaxy had seen what one ship could do. Soon it would see even more. For the first time in recorded history, fear had been replaced with curiosity. Stories of the single human ship, the HSS Endeavor, and the demonstration at Helios Verge had spread through every system. Every species, from the smallest explorers of the Outer Rim to the oldest council races, had witnessed the moment a single ship had stopped an entire fleet without firing a shot. And now, they waited. On Earth, Captain Arya Sol stood on the observation deck of the Endeavor, looking out at the stars. The city below was calm. Children played in sunlight, unaware of the massive shifts occurring in the galaxy. Adults watched the news feeds, marveling at reports from alien envoys who had just returned to their worlds. Lieutenant Chen approached her, holding a tablet filled with incoming communications. Captain, the Council envoys have sent updates. Many fleets are reconsidering their tactics. Some are even requesting human guidance before building new weapons. Arya smiled softly. We did not come to control the galaxy. We came to show what is possible. If they choose to follow, it is their decision. In the distant Vorkon Dominion, Admiral Carthon returned to his command ship, carrying more than just reports from Earth. He carried a new vision. The Dominion's generals gathered around him, their faces stern, expecting his usual command of conquest. Carthon took a deep breath. We face a choice, he said. We can continue as we always have, through fear, through force. Or we can learn from what we have seen. Humanity has shown us another way. The generals exchanged uneasy glances. Another way? One asked. They sent one ship and humiliated our fleet without destroying a single vessel. How is that another way? By teaching us, Carthon replied. By showing that strength without violence can change minds faster than fleets of warships.
I have seen it.
And I believe the Dominion can choose to follow it. A murmur spread through the room. Some were skeptical. Others were intrigued. But all realized that something unprecedented had happened. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Galactic Council held a session unlike any before. Each race shared data and accounts of the human demonstration. Scholars and scientists debated. Artists and philosophers wrote of it. The consensus grew. Humanity was no ordinary newcomer. Thalier of the First Flame addressed the assembly. We have observed a species that combines curiosity, intelligence, and courage in ways we cannot ignore. One ship was enough to halt a fleet, not through fear but through understanding. Let us take note. Let us learn. The other delegates nodded. Slowly, cautiously, the galaxy began to shift. Plans of war and conquest were set aside. Negotiations, studies, and collaborations became the focus. Humanity, once feared, was now admired. Back on Earth, Captain Arya Sol received another message, this one from Admiral Carthon himself. Captain Sol, I have begun sharing the principles of the harmonic field with my people. They are skeptical, yes, but curiosity grows. Humanity has given the galaxy a gift far greater than a weapon. You have given hope? Arya read the message aloud to her crew. Hope is the first step toward understanding, she said. Lieutenant Chen smiled. It feels like the galaxy is learning how to breathe for the first time. Arya nodded. One ship can change the course of history. One idea can change the heart of the galaxy. That is what humans do best. At the United Earth Spaceport, humans and aliens worked together to build a new project. A galactic research station dedicated to studying peace, energy, and cooperation. Representatives from dozens of races arrived, eager to learn from humanity. Dr. Elena Park oversaw the laboratory's preparations. "This is the first time we will work side by side with other species," she said. "Not as competitors, but as collaborators." The Rune envoy looked around in wonder. "It feels different. Like we are finally part of something bigger than war." "Yes," Dr. Park said. "We are. Humanity believes that knowledge is more powerful than fear, and now the galaxy will see it too." High above, the Endeavour floated silently in orbit. Its crew worked calmly, coordinating with Earth scientists and alien envoys. Aura, the ship's AI, projected holographic displays showing energy flows, calculations, and patterns. "Captain," Aura said, "sensor readings indicate that fleets across the outer systems are already adjusting their formations and protocols based on our previous demonstration." Arya smiled. "That is exactly what we hoped for. The galaxy is learning not by force, but by example." Chen nodded. "Do you think they will ever truly understand?" "They will," Arya said, "in time. Understanding cannot be rushed, but it grows just like hope." Weeks passed and the first signs of change began to appear. The Vorkan Dominion sent ambassadors to Earth, led by Admiral Carthon. Together with humans, they designed communication networks, research projects, and cultural exchanges. Trade routes opened peacefully, instead of being claimed by conquest. The once feared fleets began using the harmonic field in defensive exercises, proving that even military strength could be guided without aggression. Even distant races, who had once considered humanity a threat, now reached out to learn. Ships that would have carried weapons now carried scholars, engineers, and artists. The galaxy had not been conquered, nor subdued. It had been inspired. One evening, as the sun set over New Geneva, Captain Arya Sol stood on the balcony once more. She watched ships from alien worlds move in the sky, not as a threat, but as a sign of curiosity and cooperation. Lieutenant Chen joined her. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said. "All these different species learning together." "Yes," Arya said softly. "And it all started with one ship. One crew willing to show the galaxy that strength could be different." She looked at the Endeavour quietly floating in orbit. "This is only the beginning. Humanity will continue to explore, to teach, to inspire. And maybe one day the galaxy will remember this moment as the dawn of something new." In a quiet chamber aboard the Endeavour, Aura projected a star map, highlighting hundreds of civilizations now communicating with Earth. "Captain," she said, "the galaxy is changing. The path toward peace is growing longer, but it is visible. Humanity's influence is spreading." Arya placed her hand over the display. "Let it grow wisely. Let it be guided by understanding, not fear." Aura's holographic form glowed softly. "Your guidance has already changed more than one species, Captain. Humanity's example will be studied for generations." Arya nodded. "Then we will continue. One ship, one idea, one step at a time." Far in the Dominion fleet, Admiral Carthon looked out from his flagship at the stars. The galaxy was quiet but alive with potential. He could feel the change in the air, the curiosity replacing fear, the willingness to understand replacing the desire to conquer. He smiled. "Perhaps they were right," he said softly. "Strength is not about destruction. Strength is about guiding the universe to a better place." Behind him, his officers watched in awe. A new age was beginning, and humanity was at its center, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as teachers, explorers, and examples of what could be achieved when courage, intelligence, and understanding worked together. On Earth, the people celebrated quietly. No great parades, no loud victories, no destruction of enemies. They celebrated ideas, knowledge, and the possibility of a galaxy learning to live without fear. Captain Arya Sol looked up at the stars, a quiet smile on her face. The galaxy had expected battle. Humanity had sent just one ship, and one ship had changed everything. It was not the power of weapons that mattered. It was the power of choice, of understanding, and of courage. The stars sparkled above, reflecting humanity's hope, and as they shone, it became clear. The galaxy had a new future, a future inspired by one human crew, one small ship, and one incredible idea.